to another episode of DNA Hardwired, Common Sense Turned Upside Down. This is Pop and my co-host, Nikki. Thank you for joining us for another exciting and informative episode today. In addition to recording our episodes, we're happy to announce we are now live streaming our podcast. So we hopefully have a bunch of folks joining in on these lively, informative conversations. You will need to download the Podbean app, though, in order to join us live. On this episode, we're going to continue discussing some things that men say that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of common sense to some folks when it comes to their thoughts on relationships and women and how women should fit in our society. We'll go ahead and get started here. Today we got our two of our regular guests, Tony and Jackie, joining us. All right, any initial thoughts, Tony and Jackie?
Hey, everybody, let's get it. That's all I got to say.
Let's get at it. Okay, all right. One of the thoughts that I've been hearing, and I'm still heavy on Brother Kevin Samuels. I'm still heavy on him, and I've been doing a lot of impromptu questioning of young men and women as I go about my day-to-day life, because I'm really interested in this thing with us men and women and what's going on with us. One of the latest things that I've heard, folks, is that there's some men out there that seem to think that that's the reason that some of these women aren't acting like wives is because they aren't being trained as wives, and that's why they're so bad at it. You know, most of us, in order to be good at something, we need to have received proper education and training. And so a lot of these women out here, they're not trained properly. So what are you guys' thoughts on that about women being trained to be wives?
Well, you got to say something, or you want me to go?
You go.
I agree with that. Women are not trained to be wives.
Should they be? Should they be?
Absolutely.
You think they should be? Okay, go ahead.
Absolutely. Women are not, and I know that the word train is going to be a triggering word. That's fine.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely triggering.
Women are not trained. Women are not trained to be wives. But this is my thing. When people got a problem with the word training. When you go to a job, you go through training. I was a training manager in the Air Force. You're not touching the jet. You're not touching anything dealing with work unless you train on that task. So we got to stop this nonsense like training is a bad word. No, it's not. So women are not trained to be wives. They're not trained to look at what a man needs.
What you just say? Did you say they're not trained? Did you, Tony? I mean, Jackie. Jackie. Did you just say? I thought I heard something. Did you just say women aren't trained how to take care of their man or something like that? Did I hear that?
No, I'm absolutely saying, guys. That is what I'm absolutely saying. 100%. I stand 10 toes down on that.
Only reason I asked you that is because my co-host Nikki over here, she's having spasms. So I thought maybe she heard something I didn't hear. But go ahead.
That's fine. Nikki, we'll call 911. I'm still gonna stand on this.
Okay.
Women are not trained to be wives. Now, conversely, you can be a good person and not be a wife. Those two things are not the same. I can be a great person and be a horrible husband.
Mm-hmm.
As a man.
Right.
If I'm not trained to be a husband.
So men should be trained. So men should be trained to be husbands too, right?
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
And that's part of the problem.
Okay.
That's part of the problem. We don't have men that are trained to be husbands,
right?
And what that looks like, and what to look for in a woman,
right?
Yeah,
right.
Women out here not trained to be wives. They wonder why the marriage and the divorce rates are abysmal.
Right. So let me ask you this: it
falls on it falls on the generations ahead of us. It's the mothers, it's the fathers, it's the grandmothers, it's the grandfathers. That is the community.
Okay. Okay.
The community has failed you.
Okay.
And when watch this. When your children grow up, they turn out to be sorry citizens. And they doing
You
committing
can
crimes,
say
going
it.
to
You can
jail. They
say it
blame the
when they
mother.
grow up to be
They blame
no,
the
no,
father.
no. You
They
can
blame the
say it
father.
when they
Daddy, the
grow up to
daddy
be
wasn't there.
sorry asses. But go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I said you can go ahead and say it, Jackie. When they grow up to be sorry asses. Go ahead.
Sorry asses. They blame the daddy.
Yeah.
But guess what? When these women grow up to be what they are, you never, the mothers never blame for that stuff. The grandmothers never blame. And like Kevin Samuel said, the men didn't fail you. Your mama failed you. Your grandmother failed you. Your aunt failed you. Just like for a man, your daddy failed you. Your grandfather failed you. Your uncles failed you. See, men can accept their dog in the fight. If I wasn't there for my child, and this, that, and the other. But women think because they there, they get a pass of being there. No, a lot of the trauma that we have as adults started in our childhood, and it came from people that shared our DNA and said they love us. And I rest.
I agree. I do. I have to acknowledge. I agree with some of what you're saying as far as uh, men and young men and women not being properly. And I know that word is triggering, like you said about being trained. But educated might be a better word. I don't know. But I do agree with that to a large degree, actually. But okay, but go ahead. You had something, Tony? Let me interject just real quick. We got our a listener here again. A comment here. The person says, uh, "I think it was a better world when women could stay home, raise the kids, but today they both partners has to work to live comfortably." That was one statement. Another statement says the woman can work, men can stay at home. Look at Kelly Ripa. Another one here says mom taught the girls. Okay, go ahead, Jackie. I mean Tony. Sorry.
Well, okay, yeah, there's something. First of all, I want to say for the listeners, appreciate the comment. Those are very good comments right there.
Yes.
And as far as what we're talking about, right? Like, I mean, we both have to be trained for a position, right? That's just one important thing. Right? So this is not really anything to go back and forth. Personally, if you ask me, right? We both know that a woman has to be trained just like a man has to be trained. It's just part of life, right? You can't be a hoe. A hoe can't train you how to be a wife.
Let's hear that. Let's hear that again.
Female, a hoe cannot train her daughter to be a wife. No, fact. A woman cannot train a man to be a husband. Fact. But a man can train a woman to be a wife. You know why? Because a man, from his perspective, he knows what a man wants. The woman that's being trained by the hoe is going to be trained as, girl, stand on your own, get what you can get. That's not wife material. That's not a wife message. A man is going to train his daughter to say, hey, this is what you look for, this is what you don't look for. As a matter of fact, I don't want you messing with a man till you get a career. That's what the man is saying. I'm going to touch on that a little bit further. Most men that got a background of being out there in the streets or tell that when working with their daughters, basically will tell them, I don't want you to meet the version of me when I was 25 years old. Exactly. I don't want, but I hear no woman telling their son, hey, I wasn't a great mother. You don't bring home the version of me. But a father would tell their daughter, don't bring home that version of me. It's gonna hurt you long term. And that's part of that's part of the issues I have too. It's like there's no social awareness. And I say that because I went through that in my marriage. That I told my ex-wife, that I do not want my daughter to meet me at 25. I was not a man. I had all the tools and all that, but I was not a man. I didn't have the mindset, didn't have the mentality, none of that. That's something we have to grow into. Men have to grow into manhood. We got to go through life and let life put us on our butt. And we got to learn how to get up and overcome.
And we also have to have that feminine energy in us as well. We need both as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this all goes back to we're both needed on both sides of the table, right? We're both the same. We're both on the same frequency, just on opposite ends of each other, right? We both need each other to do our part. If we want to change society and where it's going, we first have to fix ourselves within, right? Look at yourself and say, hey, I know let me work on myself. Before I even get to a relationship, I need to work on myself. Because when it comes to relationships, when a man picks a woman, it doesn't work. But when a woman picks a man, it doesn't work. But the man, the hunter, picks that woman, it has a better chance of working.
It does.
Yeah. Let me let our only female on the panel here kind of chime in. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. She's up here shaking her head. No. Now she's supposed to be my co-host. She's supposed to be we talk about support and all the rest of that stuff. And she's just failing me. But that's okay. You sit back and listen and learn from us men. Okay. All right, but okay.
I'm gonna piggyback on what Tony just said.
Okay, go ahead, Jackie.
And Tony just touched on something. He said it differently than what I said. And Nikki may have heard me say it. I know Tammy had that. There was a point in time, I think, in every man's life, to a degree, he needs to cut off all women contact and go work on himself. There's a time you got to go to the basement, bro, and you got to sit in that basement and figure you out. That doesn't mean you're going to come out as a multi-millionaire. I'm talking about none of that. I'm talking about the principles that you got to build, that you want to build your life on. You got to go be quiet in that quiet space and figure that out.
Well, let me ask you this, Jackie. How will you know when and if that time needs to come? What's going to be your clue, indicator?
I think that's where that older generation. It's me when I'm talking to younger cats. These are some of the conversations that I'm having with them, and I believe it's more early in life than later. Almost early, like in them early in your early 20s, late teens. You need to go figure you out to a degree, and understand and be around some strong men, not your homeboys, not the ones that go along to get along game. I'm talking about that guy you can call up. It may be your father, it may be your best friend's dad, it may be that uncle that is going to hold you accountable. They're never going to give you what you want. They're always going to give you what you need, though, because long term, it's going to be more advantageous for you. So, is there an age bracket? Yeah, I think late teens, some early 20s, when we want to go out there and start running the streets, I think we need to figure out a way to curb some of that, and go to the basement and work on you as a person.
See, to piggyback off that, what happened in society, right? What happened was they taught us to look for love and happiness and strength outside of ourselves. Once we started doing that, it led to heartbreaks. It led to moments of stress. It led to all kinds of illnesses that we cause on ourselves, because first we have to find those things within ourselves, right? If you're looking for a woman or a female looking for a man, if neither one of those two are not peaceful and do not love themselves or not happy within, that relationship is going to be toxic, because they're still trying to figure themselves out internally. Because what's going on the inside comes to the outside, right? So when we think about what went wrong, society led us down this path. And what we're doing now is the repercussions of what was done. So actually what we're trying to do is put a Band-Aid on it instead of talking about where did it stem from. If we don't talk about where it stemmed from, about how we were taught to look outside of ourselves, then the problem would never be fixed. We would keep on doing what we're doing now. So this is why I say, like, when you think about it on another level, because there's levels to this life, there's levels to spirituality, there's levels to everything. This life is spiritual. Everything is spiritual, but we forgot that. It's about vibrations and frequencies and us, but we forgot that. So they changed our frequency to looking outside of ourselves. But all we got to do is look within ourselves, be happy, love yourself, and then you share that love that you got inside with that other person that has the same thing. Equally yoked. You feel me?
Feel you. A lot of wisdom. Lot of wisdom.
That's how you go back to the basics. You want to get down to the soul of it instead of putting Band-Aids on the repercussions.
Okay. All right. So
now,
go ahead.
I'll say this. I speak the way I speak. You and I talk numerous times.
Right.
I speak the way that I talk, and I speak the way that I do.
Right.
Because I've been that guy in the past that contributed to the demographic of women that I see in front of me now.
Right.
So
I appreciate that.
Speaking from the standpoint. So I'm not speaking to the standpoint of that I did it all right. No, I did it wrong. I can tell something about it. I can teach you how to get to the altar. I can't tell you how to stay in the marriage. So you're never going to hear me talk about that. So I've said this before. I wish I'd have had me, the version of me, to talk to the 22-year-old me, to the 20-year-old me, way back when. To the version I am today. I wish I'd have had it. I wish I could have had me talk to myself.
Well, hopefully.
I'd have told myself.
Well, hopefully, Jackie. Hopefully, with you being on these podcasts, Tony being on these podcasts, hopefully, you'll be able to reach a lot of those young folks now, some older too, with you guys as well.
Here's the reason why I'm doing it. Here's the reason why I'm on the podcast, because I believe there's a message out there.
Yes.
And it's purpose. It's COP, not pop. Purpose over, and you'll understand that last P right there.
Right.
We have to be on our purpose. And if we're on our purpose, we're going to find along that journey, we'll find who we should be with, because they right there next to us.
Right.
Right. You don't even have to look. You will attract it. Right? Whatever path you're on your purpose, you're going to attract those that are on that same path. Right? This is why we're out here willy-nilly, because a lot of us men don't have a purpose.
And we have no purpose, and we're living off of no purpose. We have no purpose. That's to the point I thought of earlier, and I did mention. We have no principles. You can invite me to your house, and there could be $1 million on the floor. When you get back, that $1 million is still going to be there.
It better be.
No, it's going to be there.
No, I understand. I understand. I get you.
Yeah.
But at one time, maybe when you were in your 20s and 30s, maybe it wouldn't have been there. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But a lot of times we don't have because just like I said, a lot of men, a lot of women, the mothers and grandmothers failed them. See, a lot of men have failed us as well. That's why we damaged.
Yeah.
A lot of men have failed us. And don't get me wrong, I grew up with my mother and father in the same house. However, that doesn't mean that there wasn't problems in that house.
Right.
Even though I had both parents.
Right.
So I never knew about standing on purpose. and pushing towards my purpose.
Right.
Because and having some principles in my life. Church didn't do it, and I grew up in church. I grew up Church of God in Christ. Church did not do it.
Right. Right.
In my early 20s, I was seeking out men and to help me out because I knew the path I was about to go down. This
Right.
is nuts. I knew the path I was about to jump on.
Right.
So sometimes you don't. Again, sometimes we need somebody ahead of us that they don't need to be further down that far down the road. They just need to be a step or two ahead of us to help me navigate my next step.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. All good feedback. It sounds like we all agree that in answer to that question of women aren't trained to be wives and they should be, just like some of us men aren't trained to be husbands and we should be. Sounds like we all agree that we all need to be informed on these critical roles in life. Here's another question or comment that I've heard from some folks, especially among the Kevin Samuels crowd. Not that I think bad of Kevin Samuels, but he does have he still, even after his death, he still has quite a following. But here's another thought, and I've heard it from some men I know. Women are focusing too much on their education and their profession rather than being a wife and homemaker. What are your thoughts on that? Women are focusing too much on their education and their profession rather than being a wife and a homemaker. Thoughts?
Let me touch on that. Go ahead, Don.
I'm just gonna make one statement, and you can run with it. And this is not to compare it to, but when you let a dog out the house that don't get out much, what does the dog do?
Run like a bat out of hell.
There you go.
That sucker take off.
Okay.
It's gone. You can't call him back. You can't get him back with food, nothing.
Okay. All right. So back to this question. We'll let you go first, then Jackie. Go ahead.
My statement on that is this right here. Women they're all this focusing on their education and all that. That sounds good on their damn resume. But women don't want to work long and hard like men work long and hard. It's a rare woman that's sitting around and not thinking about, I need a day off, I need a week off, I need a vacation. When I have my kids, I want to take a year off from work. Well, how in the hell does your college education help me out, or us out as a family, when you don't even want to work long and hard, work long and hard in the field that you studied for? Like, it's nuts. It's nuts. You don't want to work till you're 65 years old. Men know we're gonna work our entire lives. And even if we get the money that we don't have to, we're still gonna go do something. We're not just gonna sit around waiting for the cash. See, there's not a burden of performance on women to do anything. Women are going to get these education and these degrees. Like, matter of fact, Kevin Samuels said this, and this is where he wasn't wrong. Other races go to college to find husbands. Black women go to college to prove that they don't need one. And so, when you coming out of college, all your counterparts over there, they're around that senior year or a year or two after college, you getting wedding invitations. Not in our community. That's not what happens. That's not what's happening. And so now a woman thinks in our community, because she has an education, she's better than our counterparts. You got young boys in college right now, black males in college, knowing that they can't even date the women in the same class with them because they want somebody better.
Okay.
You got black men in college right now, and all my brothers and sisters came out of Jackson State, knowing that the women in those college classes with them didn't want them. So your education, you over here focusing on your education like that makes you a better person. Like that means you're gonna get this husband when you finish. No. The man you want, remember that boy, he has to want you back.
Okay. All right. All right. Any thoughts on that? I know you had made a comment at first, Tony, but any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, so the comment I made, let the dog out and really get out, be all excited and happy to be out, right?
Yeah.
So the reason I feel like, I could be wrong, but it seems like to me is that the women have just been tricked. Come on.
Say that again. Say that again. I didn't hear it.
The women have been tricked.
Tricked. Okay.
In other words, they have had gang ran on them again, right? So, bro, when you go and you actually think about it and you go deeper, men gave women the idea that they're equal. So they came out fighting, marching, but these were started by men. So now that they have this opportunity, they feel like they have a point to prove. So yeah, I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna show them that I don't need a man. Society told me I don't need a man. My mama told me I don't need a man. So let me go prove to them that I don't need a man. So I'm gonna go hard. I'm not gonna get into no relationship. You know why? Because they can't. Somebody said this before. They have a hard time compartmentalizing. Right?
Come on now. Right.
A man can do the same exact thing, but still compartmentalize and have a woman and have a healthy relationship, as well as have healthy friends relationships. But a woman has to prove that she don't need a man. A man don't build a house to prove he can do it.
Come on.
He does it because that's what he's supposed to do to make things better. As a structure, as a family, let's build this house for us. Not for me, for us. The woman is going hard. I'm gonna prove this point. Now, I'm not doing it for me. I'm just doing it to show that I don't need a man. Who benefits from that besides you?
A man, go ahead. A man gets money, and most men, I think the majority of men that get money, get into their career, and it's going well. Typically, the first thing that man says, okay, now I'm ready for a family. Now I can take care of a family. I can take care of a woman. It's not the same way around. It's not the other way around. And I said it on this podcast before. A man don't buy a Lamborghini because it's the best way for him to go to Chick-fil-A. A man buys a Lamborghini because of the attention he gets from driving that car. And it's not from other men. It's attention for women. It makes him look. It makes him more presentable. The burden of performance, a man's role in society has not changed. We've not changed. It's the women around us that have changed. What they're looking for, what they want. And that changes every day, damn near. Come on. And you know I'm right. Y'all been married, but while you've been married all these years, you know I'm right. And I'm not saying anything about it, but my point, women are different. Based on how they feel. Every day they want. You think I'm lying? Look at how many times a woman to rearrange a living room like that's going to change the square footage of the house. It's not.
That's because the psychology of a woman, right? She thinks for the moment.
Correct.
For the moment.
And most men, we gotta think, we gotta be able to look down the road. I gotta be able to look down the road to see, okay, where are the potholes in this road? I can't go down this road 95, 100 miles an hour. I run the risk of tearing my car up, type thing.
Right. Okay. So
that's just where we're different. That's just where we're different.
Oh, okay. So what I'm gonna do is we still have our dedicated listener here, Jay Hatter, dedicated listener here. Comment here said,
"Hey Jay, how you doing, Jay?"
All right. so it said the statement here says, but society dictates both, and this ties into my response to that question about women becoming educated and becoming professionals. But society dictates both parents work outside the home in order to pay the bills. History was that if man dies, the woman had nothing, but they want to be professionals. They shouldn't the family suffer. Okay, so this kind of ties into my response to that question of whether or not I think that women should be educated and look toward a profession. Jackie, you have a daughter or two?
I got one of a daughter.
You got a daughter? Tony, I know you have a daughter. I know Tony, you have a daughter, right?
Yes, I have both.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask both of you men a question. Let's just say, this hypothetical. It ain't gonna happen, but let's just say hypothetical. Both of you guys' daughters got married at the ripe old age of, let's say, 25 or 30, and neither one of them had pursued a college education or any type of profession, right? And so they both got married. Both got married at 25, let's say. Let's just say that they've been married for 40 years, 30, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And either the spouse dies or the male spouse becomes disabled or they get a divorce. So now here's this female who's 40, 45 years old, maybe have kids, maybe don't. And they just lost their primary source of income. What do you think? Let me ask you this question. So do you think that they would be in a better position to take care of themselves if they had pursued a college education and a profession or not? What are your thoughts on that scenario? Okay, because that never happens, but go ahead.
No, it happens. It happens.
You damn right it happens. I've got a neighbor right now. This lady, I just spoke to her just yesterday. I got a female neighbor, male neighbor. She's 54 damn years old. No college education, no career. And her husband decides, who's a friend of mine, he decides he's going to bail. I don't know the reasons. They didn't tell me all of it, but I know that's what their situation is. Because she told me about the part where she's 54 years old and she's afraid right now because she hasn't worked the whole time. They end up having 5 kids and she took care of the kids. No college education, no profession, and now she's 54. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, I don't know their situation.
I just told you basically. She's 54 years old, uneducated, no profession, and she's getting divorced. Go ahead.
I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
Tony alluded to the fact earlier that a man builds a house, a woman makes it a home.
Okay.
But sometimes that woman makes that home a prison.
Okay.
You don't stop with this nonsense like that's not what happened. I grew up, 9 times out of 10, it was held in that house next door. Because men rarely leave.
Let's just assume it was. Let's just assume that woman, boy, I mean, she was out there hoeing around. She didn't cook. She didn't clean the house. No sex. Let's assume all that was true. Mm-hmm. But she's now 54 years old with no career and no education.
This is what you earned then.
So is that what you're going to say? Is that what you're going to say about your daughter? Is that what you're going to say about your daughter?
No, guess what? No, my job is to teach my daughter not to be that.
That's right. By teaching her to get educated and have a profession.
No. I didn't say that.
You're not going to teach her? Come on now, Jackie. Come on, brother.
No. I'm telling you the truth. Because you forget, I told you before. My ex-wife and I had a conversation. I asked her one, and this is 2021. Are we teaching our daughter to be a strong, independent woman, or are we teaching her to be a wife? She said, we should teach her to be a strong, independent woman. I said, well, you are ensuring she would never be a wife. You can always teach strength. You cannot teach wife. See, the foundation of her being a wife has to be there first. Then we can add on to that after that. But we can't add on that we teach her to be strong, independent. I don't need a man, all this. go get your career, this, that, and other, and then come back later on and teach you how to
You
be
can
a
have
wife.
both.
Doesn't work that way.
See, you need to have both. I think you can have both.
Yes, however, one has to supersede the other.
I don't believe
One
that.
has to be. One has to. So
Let me tell you.
we have to teach her how to be. We have to teach her how to be a wife first. We can always teach her to go to college and get an education and go get a career. That's always on the table. That's on the table, period. So it can't be the inverse. So we're gonna teach her to be strong and independent, and then we're gonna teach her to be a wife, be a submissive wife. That ain't gonna work.
I taught Nikki both.
That's,
I taught Nikki. She'll tell you, I taught her both. She did pretty good. But go ahead.
okay. And I'm not touching on that at all.
I got you. I'm reading your mind, and that's cool.
I'm keeping it.
I got you. I got you. I'm reading your mind. But go ahead.
Me teaching my daughter to go get a career because it's only coming from a place of fear. I don't want her to be struggling in her life.
Right.
I don't want her to be lost out there at 54 years old with 5 kids,
right,
and never had a job.
Right.
That's all out of fear.
Right. And it should be. Fear is not a bad thing. Fear keeps us safe. Now terror might be a little different, but fear can keep us safe.
I think when the basis of the lesson is based out of fear, there's no peace nowhere in your life.
I've received a lot of lessons out of fear. Jackie, let me tell you something. My mama 100 years old, and I'm not going to tell you how old I am, you know. But let me tell you something. My mama instilled some fear in my ass when I was younger. It's still in my ass right now. It was healthy.
No, your mom taught you fear because she wanted you to survive.
Yes.
That's a difference.
Yes.
That's a difference.
And that's what we're talking about here. We're teaching our young women, we're teaching our young daughters to be afraid of living to be 54 years old, and that support system that you had all of those years has decided to bail on your ass. And now here you are by yourself, no education and no profession, and nobody's going to take care of you.
No, what we should be teaching is accountability.
That too, I agree.
When we see a situation like that, if I was next to your neighbor, I would ask her, what is her dog in that fight? And if I watch this, on one of my divorces, my ex-wife told me, matter of fact, I told her, I said, before we got a divorce, I said, I know just what it would take to come back in this house and go down this road with you. And she said, why won't you do it? I said, because I'm the only one still changing. So after we got divorced, we were talking about a year after we got divorced. And I asked, I said, what was your dog in the fight? She said, I stayed with you too long. No accountability for your dog in the fight. No accountability for your actions. I have to teach my daughter, you have to learn how to read the room. You don't get to experience you. I experienced you, and I'll tell you what my experience was. It's like going to your favorite steakhouse, and the chef says, oh, my steaks are great. You don't get to say that. The people you serving that steak to get to make that determination. I don't even get to say I'm a good guy or I'm a good man. You know who gets to tell me that? You, Pop. You, Tony. You, Nikki. Tammy. Y'all get to tell me what type of person I am because you get to experience me. I don't get to experience myself.
Yeah. Okay.
So with my daughter, I have to sit here and go down, in a sense, stay in the middle of the road. Yes, I want you to be successful. I want you to be fulfilled. But on the same hand, that part of your fulfillment comes from having a husband and having a wife, being a wife and having children. That's part of your success. That's part of that fulfilling process for most women. So now how do you go get there?
Okay.
I can't teach her that. I was never married.
Okay. So a lot of good feedback there, Jackie. A lot of good feedback. Tony, anything you want to add to that? Tony, if you're
about that woman, right?
Huh?
Talking
about the 54-year-old woman.
Well, not just her, but just in general, the fact that whether or not we should go.
General, like, all right, so if my daughter, right, was in that situation, what I should do, first of all, she didn't go to college. She didn't go to college, no career, no nothing, right? That's what you said, right?
Right.
So what I'm going to do as her father.
How old is she? How old is she now? How old is she, Tony?
I'm speaking hypothetically.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay.
My daughter, I would tell her, I would say, it's okay you didn't go to college. That's okay. Because you know what? It's some of the richest people in the world that didn't go to college.
Absolutely.
So what are we going to do?
All right.
We're going to educate ourselves on a business, how to build a business, how to build up business credit. That's what we're going to learn. This is what we didn't have when we was growing up. And this is what the other people teach their kids, right? So, first of all, we're going to educate ourselves. We're going to learn business. We're going to learn how to run a business. We're going to learn business credit. Because I'm going to teach you how to survive even though you didn't get those credit. So, that in the case of that 54-year-old woman, like Jackie just said, where's the accountability? You are living in a day and age where you can educate yourself. You don't need nobody else. You don't need a man for woman. Turn on YouTube. You can learn anything you want to learn. Go to the library. You can find any books you want to learn on. So that's an excuse. He's lazy, and that's probably why he left.
And not to cut you off, Tony, and that's a good point. I didn't think about that, but it was on my head that when you got children, they're at school throughout the day. What are you doing at that house? Probably nothing.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna throw in a comment. Here from Jay Hatter or someone that's following him. It says one comment here says, "But society will help the lady," and then another comment was, "She's looking for a man cougar." But go ahead.
She's looking for what?
A man cougar instead of a female cougar. She's going to be looking for a man cougar.
And see, and that's a fact. Society for the most part give women a soft place to land. That's why the homeless rate for men is astronomically higher than the homeless rate for women. They got all kind of shelters, and there's some dude that'll come through and give that woman a soft place to land. So in this case, she's looking for a man to come through and take care of her to the end. And there would be a dude that does it too. At 54, there probably would be a dude that does it. And that's the problem.
Let me flip the script. I bet if we had men out there protesting like the women are doing, what they gonna tell them men?
Go get your shit together. Go get y'all shit together. Go home.
Be a man. Quit speaking how you feel. So what?
And that's part of the problems in these spaces right here. That the issues that we have with women, that I have with women, is that this is one of the only times, if not the only time, that you typically hear men speaking about the issues that they see and that they have. And women are like, oh no, that's not the way it is. No. You don't get to say that. Your job at this point is to listen like we have to listen. Take the information, go do something with the information.
Okay.
They basically telling us to shut up and go play basketball.
Shut up and dribble. That's what they're saying. Shut up and dribble. That's exactly what they say. Shut up and dribble.
Okay. All right. Good responses. So I don't want to put words in you guys' mouth. But I just want to be I want to be left with a thought here as far as how you guys feel. And so so it's kind of like you kind of leaning a little toward women should be more concerned about being a wife, be more concerned about that, and then kind of worry about maybe a profession education later. Do I have that right or no?
Yeah, no, I think you summed it up right there. Yes,
Okay.
you have to put some energy and effort into that piece of your development as well as a woman.
Okay. All right. Here's another question I've been hearing or comment, and that is telling a woman you will die alone. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Ask that 54-year-old how she feel about that right now.
Uh-huh.
Because this is the thing. When you not develop the skill set how to get along with the gender that you want, the problem is you. The problem is you. And after a while, if all men that all men prior to where you are right now have come up with come up with the same conclusion that they don't want to be with you, you better take your ass to the mirror. You better go to the mirror and have a conversation with the first person that you see.
Mm-hmm.
At some point in time, we have to realize in our lives that we are the problem. It's not society. It's not my social circle. I'm the problem within society. I'm the problem within my social circle. I have a brother that a couple of years ago, my mom was saying,
hold up a minute, Jackie. Hold up a minute, Jackie. I don't know if it's Jackie or Tony, but I hear some background noise.
It's a noise. Yeah, I heard that noise too.
Okay, but go ahead.
So a couple of years ago, I was talking to my mom, and she was talking about my brother that I got a younger brother that's been out there getting in trouble, no trouble here and there. And one day she said, through this conversation, she said, well, I think he's around the wrong crowd. And I got two of my other brothers right there, and all three of us said the same thing at the same time. No, Mom, he is the wrong crowd. He's not around the wrong crowd. He is the wrong crowd. Sometimes we got to get to the point where we say, I'm the problem. The problem is not outside of me. The problem is me.
Mm-hmm.
And once we get to that point, we can begin to look at our own self and
Good
say,
point.
okay, this is areas I need to work on.
Good point.
Kevin Samuels made a statement, and I swear to God, I've said this before. I wish I would have heard this at 20 years old. It's a two-part statement. No, I'm a black man in America. I'm from Mississippi. You can't talk to me how many times I was called the N-word as a kid. I watched my grandfather step out of line. I was about 9 years old, and there was two white men behind us, and he said, go ahead, Mr. White Man. I stood there and watched that, y'all. Real talk. So my point is this. The point I'm making is, I understand. No one is coming to save me, and no one owes me understanding.
Well, to that point though, I will be honest with you, Jackie. When I was younger, growing up in the 60s, I saw and experienced some of the same things that you're talking about. But let me tell you, but let me tell you something, brother. Some people came to save me. And at the time, let me finish. I said, some people did come to save me. Now I will admit, at the time, I did not realize that that's what was going on. As a matter of fact, I'm going to use a statement right now, and it's going to be offensive to some people. And so what I would encourage you to do for those people that it might be offensive to, because I'm going to use the N-word right now, and that's going to be offensive to some people. So if you don't want to hear that N-word, tune out for the next 30 seconds, okay? But when I was growing up in the 60s, I remember some of these people coming to save me. Those people were getting fire hosed, dogs set on their asses, and all kind of other crazy shit. And at the time, because I was so young and dumb and didn't understand that these people were really there to save me, I made statements like, "Them niggas crazy. What the hell are they doing?" But now here I am at the age I'm at, and I've experienced life. I understand that those people weren't crazy. If those people hadn't have came to save me, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I'm sure of it. But they did. They came to save me. And I'll be honest with you, that's kind of been my job in life right now is I'm trying to try to save some folks, so to speak. But we just lost our two guests. So what we're going to try to do, Tony and Jackie, you guys aren't here, right? Yeah, we just lost them. So what we're going to try to do is get them back real quick. My co-host is going to try to go ahead and get them back. But yes, in my life, I did have some people come to save me, and I'm thankful to those people. It took me many years later to realize and recognize that, but some people did come to save me. So what we're going to do right now, because like I said, we're almost at the end of the show anyway. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause for right now, and I'm going to allow my co-hosts to get those other two people back so that we can at least get their last comments before we leave. Jay Hatter, they've been online for both of our podcasts today, and so if you're still are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, okay, Jackie, hold on a second. We're gonna Tony. We'll get Tony back.
Okay.
All right, when we get Tony back, we'll go ahead.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we don't know what happened either, but it's okay. It was just a little hiccup. My co-host is trying to get Tony back, but Jay Hatter, if you could, I see you responding and said yes. I really appreciate you participating in this podcast. I think you said you're out of California, right? Yes, yeah. I really appreciate you participating and the feedback. It looked like you've got some followers who are making some comments to you, so we really appreciate that. We're going to be bringing this session to a close here pretty soon, but I wanted to make sure that I thanked you for joining us. Anything you want to add, Jay Hatter? I mean, you look like you're typing here, so anything you want to add? Okay, Jay Hatter, he says peace to all. That's a really good way to end it. But okay, so Tony and Jackie, I think when I lost you guys, I was telling you, Jackie, and I don't know if you heard this part, but I was telling you that when I was a young kid, I experienced some of the same things you experienced in Mississippi, except I was in Pennsylvania. Well, this has been part of my life, a young or early life down south too, but mainly in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh. And I experienced that thought that maybe people weren't coming to save me. At the time, I didn't realize it. But in the '60s, with all of those protests with those folks, and I called them a derogatory name that I won't repeat, but when I look back at it, they actually came to save me. They were getting fire hosed. The dogs were being set on them, and all different types of just terrible things were happening to them. But I can look back over my life and realize that if it wasn't for those people coming to save me, I don't know if I'd still be here today, or I definitely wouldn't be in the condition I'm in today, in the shape I'm in today. So I'm thankful to those people. Sometimes we don't realize when people are coming to save us. But anyway, go ahead. Well, we're going to get ready. Go ahead.
The only point that I'm making, the point that I'm making by making those statements is during the civil rights era, during that time frame, yes, there were a lot of people in this country that disagreed with the way black people were being treated. A lot of white people.
Right.
And so, yes, but I'm not. That's really that's not what I'm speaking on. I'm only speaking on the fact of if I choose not to be successful, no one is going to run up and offer me success.
I agree with that.
If my mom and dad didn't hug me enough as a kid, no one is coming to save me, and nobody cares.
I agree
That's
with
all
that.
I'm saying. So I'm saying the responsibility for where I go or don't go is on me.
I agree
And
with
mind
that.
you, once you start moving in your purpose, once you start moving down that road, there are always going to be people that'll help you out. White people, black people, whatever demographic that you're around in that space, they're willing to lend a helping hand.
I agree
But
with you.
they're not going to come up. But they're not going. No one is going to run up to you and say, "Hey, I got a business idea for the most part, or I'm in business. I need somebody over here to do this for me. Can you do it?" No, they're going to find people that are already in that space trying to make it anyway, and they're going to give them an opportunity. So I have to be outside and put myself in that space. It's almost that line that says, the harder I work, the luckier I got.
Right.
It's not
Right.
the other way around.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the only part I'm saying, that I'm responsible for where I go or where I don't go.
And that's been the foundation of our last couple of podcasts, which was talking about accepting responsibility. So it's really good that you tied into that, Jackie. But I appreciate that. I'll tell you what we're going to do though, because we're getting close to close to the end. I'm going to go ahead and give Brother Tony a minute or two to go ahead and make some comments, because I know he has a lot of wisdom. He got this just bursting out. All right, Brother Tony.
That's funny, but I mean, this accountability is very important for men and for women, or just for people in general, you know. And I just want to speak for the men, or to the men. Find your purpose, stay on that purpose. Don't worry about these females. Fix yourself, work on yourself. You shouldn't even get married until you have a level status of money saved up to be able to afford to be married and have a family. So we need to stop shooting ourselves in the foot, work on ourselves, stay on our purpose, and everything will fall in place once we work on ourselves, right?
Right.
Male and female.
Right.
So go back to the basics, like I always say, and put all of this going back and forth. Just accept. Okay, let me listen to this man, see what he got to say. All right, I heard him. Okay, I'm glad you expressed yourself. Now I hear, now I know where I stand, how we're supposed to together and feel together. And that's not the case. We just want y'all to listen. Just hear us out.
All right. All right. And what you just finished off with, Jackie, Tony, it
Yes.
really ties into, I've been randomly, like I said earlier, I've been randomly talking to folks, asking them different questions, whatever the subject is. In this case, it was dealing with relationships. And there was a young couple, beautiful couple, in the gym. The female, I think she was 24. The male was 27. They've been dating for like 5 years. So I had asked them a question on what it was like dating today. Man dating a woman, or a woman dating a man. And I asked them to kind of share some of their responses and their thoughts. And the male felt, and this ties into what you were saying, Tony. The male felt dating, that it was complicated sometimes. And I thought this kid, he was so, just so insightful. But he said, because he was still trying to get to know who he was while trying to figure out who she was and try to gel with her at the same time. I thought that was so powerful and insightful. He was still trying, it was complicated because he was still trying to get to know who he was while trying to figure out who she was and trying to gel with her at the same time. And the female, her response was somewhat the same. She felt it was difficult sometimes to go with the flow of the relationship while trying to figure out her own personal future. So I thought that those were two very good responses to a relatively simple but really deep question about dating. So any last comments? I mean, any last comments?
That conversation you had with that demographic right there
Right,
says everything that we're saying.
right, right.
That conversation speaks volumes.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's what I mean by going back to the basics. Start within yourself first. That's
Yes.
what basics is.
Yes. All right, guys, and listeners. I really appreciate you joining us. Jay Hatter made a couple. Jay Hatter made a couple last comments here. Said never be afraid to jump and work hard. It will work out. So I appreciate the listeners, Jay Hatter, Tony, Jackie. Thank you, my co-host. You didn't do a whole damn lot today, but I still appreciate you. She was doing some work in the background. So with that note,
we appreciate the call. We appreciate the call.
All right.
Give her love too.
All right. So with that, what we're going to do is go ahead. We're going to drop the mic on this session, bring this session to an end, and again, thank you, and hopefully you'll join us next week. We're out of here.
Yeah.
Think it through, people.